My name is Zach Clavin, Benji Wolter. We're with Bona's product management team. And today we're going to be talking about two of our more recent product launches, the Craft Oil 2K Natural Penetrating Oil, and also the new Bona Wire Brush Kit. And what we're going to start with is the wire brush kit, and this kit was really developed to work with our Bona FlexiSand power drive that you see here. But just before we get into the kit, talk a little bit about wire brushing. I'm sure most everyone at this convention knows what that is, which is really taking the act of wire brushes, whether it's by hand, machine, belt sander, and running a process of removing all the soft grain in the wood. Obviously this will work better with your oaks and species that have a lot of open grain, not so well on some harder, denser species, but what that does, and it gives a very natural and rustic, like a textured appearance to the floor, which today seems to be very popular. And this process generally is done in a factory. See it on a lot of pre-finished floors where it can be controlled, a lot easier process. But the challenge with doing it on hardwood floors has always been, if you take a belt sander or whatnot, it does a great job, but it leaves quite a bit around the perimeter of the room that becomes a challenge to get a blending, of the two, whether you're doing it by hand on the edges and the belt sander in the field. It's hard to get a uniform appearance. And so what we wanted to do is bring that technology to the power drive, because the power drive really has the ability of getting very close to the perimeter of the room, almost eliminating the edging and whatnot. So, to get into the kit and what that all includes. So the wire brush kit, what it comes with is 5 wire brush pucks. These are all hook and loop, so they'll outfit all power drives that are out there in the field today. Basically like just putting on a different grit of sandpaper. And the power drive you see only takes 4 pucks. So that 5th puck, along with a drive pad and this dust shroud, are designed to outfit this DeWalt polisher, the DWP849X card polisher, and that takes care of your perimeter. So now you have the ability to wire brush the perimeter of the floor the same way that you're using the power drive. Also includes just a simple wire brush hand tool to get basically the corner and the areas that the edge tool and the power drive can't get. Simple tool just to pry off your wire brush pucks because of the rigidity of those. Unlike sandpaper, they can be difficult to get off, so you can get a tool in there to remove those. Nice pair of leather gloves, protect your hands, because these things, they'll get you, they'll bite you. And so that's basically what the kit includes, along with a slightly longer dust skirt, because the power drive will sit up a little bit higher, and obviously we're always trying to get the best dust containment. And then on the edge tool, just to show you the shroud. So the shroud was designed obviously so we can get good dust containment no matter what we're doing. It's got 2 urethane wheels that'll slide tightly up against the wall, which will show you. This shroud also rotates, so whatever your preference is on running this tool, you can adjust it for that. And I think we'll get started. Benji here is gonna kind of give you a demo. We're gonna start with the edge tool, just going down, and we'll only do half the panel, so that after the demo, if anybody wants to come down and visually see the difference that these 2 tools did to the floor, you can do that. But again, please wait till the end of the demo for that. And just a little bit before we do this, when do you do this process in your standard or your normal sanding technique? generally what you want to do, sand the floor up to about 80 to 100 grit, basically, and then wire brush. You're doing it right before your final sanding step, basically. This floor has been prepped to 80 grit. So we'll get Benji going here, show you the edging. And this is a variable speed machine. We recommend anywhere from 800 to 1200 RPM, but that all can depend on the different species you're sanding. So I would recommend to always do a visual inspection to make sure that you are set up to match what the power drive is doing in the field, species specific. This tool can be used on stairs, landings, anywhere that you can't get the actual power drive. And while Benji's doing that, just to talk a little bit about the power drive, for some of you guys who might not know, this looks very similar to a buffer, but it's a 220 volt gear driven. You can see the internal gear in here that drives these 4 plates. And that's what really makes it beneficial for doing wire brushing, because you're getting a consistent, drive of those pucks. They're not free floating. They're not going to get hung up. You're not going to lose, power halfway through the floor and get an inconsistent wire brushing. And also the process of wire brushing with the power drive, we always recommend to lightly mist the floor with water ahead of your wire brushing. We find that this softens the wood tissue up, allows for a greater amount of soft grain removal, as well as just keeps the entire system running a lot cooler, because these steel wires can obviously get very hot. Start burnishing that floor quite a bit. Again, hook and loop, backing on all the wire brushes. So like I said, it's just like another step in the sanding process. It's almost that simple. All right. In this process of wetting out the wood, we're not doing like a traditional water pop where you're wetting the floor and allowing that to dry. You're utilizing the fact that the wood is wet. It's cooler. The fibers are soft. This isn't about popping the grain like you do when you're sanding. And the moisture that this adds to the wood goes away very quick. Like I said, running these steel brushes is high temp. So you'll notice as Benji goes down, it'll probably be wet. On his back pass, it'll dry out very quickly. And anytime running the power drive, recommend going from one wall down the length of the room, coming back in the same motion, just like most sanding machines, so you get a consistent cut, because you're going to have different pressure going one way versus the other. You may not be able to see it, but when you're adding the water to the floor, it takes away a little bit from your dust containment. You'll see some heavier dust, the wet dust, start kicking out on the floor. This isn't problematic. This isn't the stuff that goes airborne, but generally on that back pass, it'll start to pick up, it'll dry it out that quick and pick up a lot of that dust. And other things to really consider when you're wire brushing, you're doing these processes, you are adding water to the floor. I would recommend kind of monitoring those steps with a moisture meter just so you can understand where your moisture content's at before you go to your products, which whether it's oil-based or water-based, just to have a better understanding of whether you should be doing that step. So we'll leave half of that. So after the demo, you guys can come up and check it out. And so after this step, and that's about as simple as it gets, minus a little bit of corner work with that hand tool, what we'd recommend is hitting it one more time, just your final sanding. We recommend our Bona multi-disc, multi-head, free-floating sanding drive plate. That's great, designed for blending all of your surface together to give you a uniform look. But even after that, in Bona, we've had this for years, but a Tampico brush. This is a brush that was designed to be used with good dust containment, traditionally just as your final step. It's almost like a super vacuuming of your floor, removing all that dust that gets packed down tight in the floor that generally leads to grain raise that you don't really need. It's just loose dust on the floor. But now that we've created these low voids in the wood and the soft grain, using that Tampico brush is even that more important to really clean it out and give you that much nicer and deeper texture to the floor. So a great complement to the wire brush system. Other things to consider, like if you were going to water pop the floor before staining and whatnot, same as before. After your final sanding, water pop it just like normal, stain it next day or after that's dried. No worry about corrosion or rusting of these are stainless steel wires, so the water is not a problem. You should be able to get 5,000 to 7,000 square feet per set. And this is obviously a great opportunity to upsell. I mean, being able to take this type of process and now pretty easily do it on a current floor that's already installed, where a lot of homeowners, customers today don't have that option. They have to go buy it. If they want this look, they got to rip out or install a new floor. So very easy process, adds beautiful texture. I'll, at the end of the demo, open it up to any questions about anything we're talking about here. But to change gears a little bit, I want to talk about our Craft Oil 2K, natural penetrating oil that we launched last fall. This is products that are very big in Europe. They're starting to really get popular in the States as well. They provide a very soft, natural look to the floor as well, a very organic look, which seems to be popular these days. And they're like a one coat and done. This is a type of product that protects the wood from the surface down, where traditionally with urethanes, you're protecting it from the wood up with layers of urethane. So very unique, niche look, beautiful, very low VOC, very green product. And the big thing that we wanted to focus on with the Craft Oil was the ease of use. And that's what it is. I would say it's very easy to use. It's got a excellent viscosity, easy to work with, easy to remove, doesn't set up on you very, very easily. It's got short dry times. You got an 8-12 hour dry time depending on which product you're using, which color. We have 6 available, a neutral, frost, clay, ash, and charcoal, with maybe more to come soon down the road. But good coverage rates. Overall, just really easy to use. And the biggest thing with it, and this is really just an option, but with these oils, we have the option to coat with any of the products in our Traffic family, which is our kind of top of the line waterborne finish. and there's plenty of variety within that product line to kind of answer a few different scenarios. One is, if you look at this first panel here, this is actually a new color we're looking at called sand, but one half of this is just the Craft Oil 2K, just one coat of it. And the other half, what we did is we coated it with Traffic Natural, which is a product we released years ago, back in 2007, is a commercial matte product, so designed to look like nothing's on the floor. And actually the purpose was to look like these European oils. And so now that we have one of these oils, if somebody wants a certain color, they like the craft oil, but maybe they want a urethane type protection depending on their living circumstances, you can get the color, but top coat it with a finish that maintains that oiled look. And that's what you're seeing here. You can kind of see a line down the middle. The adding finish to it also adds a little bit of pop, brings out some more of the color, especially in that soft grain. And these were both wire brushed as well, so adds to the color in the soft grain. Another option is, you know, a green stain has always been desired in the industry, and the fact that if somebody wants this really green system and they want the high durability of a product, say like Traffic HD, which is also a very green product, our greenest waterborne finish, you can team those up and really offer your customer a green alternative, kind of a low VOC stain. So that's an option. And then moving down to this panel, this is more just for custom looks that you're starting to see a lot more of today. What we did here was we called an accent. So we did one coat of our clay oil, allowed that to dry overnight, and then came in with our frost or our white oil, and that adds that little accent color down to the grain. Obviously this pairs very well with a wire brushing, providing you that texture for that color to sit. And we coated this panel all with Traffic HD semi-gloss. Two reasons. One, oils by themselves, one coat of oil is generally a very easy to repair product. You don't have to cut through 3 layers of finish to fix it. So it's generally, that's kind of one of the selling features, easy to repair. When you get into multi-layer, different colors and stuff like that, that's a different story. So I think it's recommended by us to always top coat that just to protect that look and that investment. And also we went with a semi-gloss. I know flatter sheens have been popular lately, but when you get into the wire brushed and some of this stuff, adding a little bit of sheen to that floor really makes it pop quite a bit. So that's those, but remember these products, they're standalone products. You don't have to top coat, that's just an added benefit. And maybe even 6 months down the road, if somebody did the oil, maybe they're not happy with it, you have the option to go in there and top coat it with a good product. Other than that, some other things with the craft oil that we have, we do have kind of a mix kit. That kit is about twice the hardener that you would get in the craft oil, a bottle to mix up smaller amounts to do smaller areas, and then it comes with a top so you can actually use this bottle as an application tool as well. So that is available today. We also have our maintenance products, the care oil and the soap just being kind of like your, if you're offering the maintenance program, going in and doing a cleaning once in a while, and then the care oil is kind of a lower cost alternative just to refresh that floor. It's a product that you can add up to 20% of the color oils to if you need to add some of that back. Or maintenance-wise, you can go in and just add another coat of the 2K oil. So it kind of leaves a lot of different options there to offer your customers. And then we have our floor care kit, which are always been good to leave behind with your customers after a job. This product is designed for these natural penetrating oils, just a starter kit to get your customer off on the right step with their daily maintenance. Other than that, just want to point out another tool that even becomes more beneficial. It's something we've had for years, but the Bona Power Scrubber. A great offering for any floor as a maintenance program to go in and clean. Low cost, just a deep clean in a way that homeowners cannot achieve with a mop. But now that we're getting into wire brush floors and whatnot, this is an excellent tool to actually get in there deep down in that texture of the floor and remove any dirt and debris that is not going to be removed with a standard mop. Right now, I know light white, grays, things like that are very popular. They tend to show dirt a lot quicker, so great option to be able to go take care of those floors. And I think other than that, open it to any questions anybody may have. Of natural. So the question is, if you're going to top coat over the oil, if somebody wants the oil for maybe the color or something and top coat with finish, we're still going to recommend our normal 2 to 3 coats of finish on top. Obviously, you can always work that out with the customer on, but we like to recommend what's in our writing, what's in our books. What's that?
Don't you lose the wire brush?
So the question is, if your floor is wire brush, do you lose that texture when you add coats of finish? It's minuscule how thick these coats really are. So depending on how many coats, sure, you'll take away from it a little bit, but you'll still have it if you're just going like 2 coats on top. This one has 3 coats, I guess, if you wanted to come take a look afterwards. Roberto.
So you're wetting the floor to soften up that soft grain. Once all that's done, are you wetting it again?
As we're wetting the floor during the wire brush process, do you have to wet it again if you're going to stain it for a water pop effect? Yes. So you would wire brush, that's one process. Do your next, final buffing like normal, and water pop again. Because that last sanding is going to knock down any pop you'll have.
When you're done edging, you know how they have a swirl with edging marks. Does that wire brush eliminate those, or do we still have to work it?
Will the wire brush eliminate edger marks? I wouldn't say that it will, and I wouldn't rely on it to. I would treat every step like you do today, like get rid of your previous edger marks. You're still doing the same sanding process. You're just slipping in this wire brush process in there. So treat it all like it would today. Just slide in that wire brush process. So if you're going to top coat with finish, that's that 8 to 12 hours. So 8 hours for our neutral, 12 hours for any of the colors. That's when you can coat with any product in the Traffic family. And that's just vacuum it, tack it, coat it. Very simple process.
Just wondering, if you put down the craft oil and you want to maybe darken it up or do something like Bona stain, can you do it with craft oil?
Mixing craft oil and stains and stuff like that, things we're looking at. At this point, we're not recommending any of that yet until we're sure, because we do have a lot of stain colors and every product needs to be treated kind of on its own. So a lot of combos to still validate out. Long-term recoating of Traffic. So for the customer that says, yeah, the oil's great, but and I got dogs and kids and just a lot going on, I'd like to get a coat of waterborne finish or something on there. What we'd recommend to do is really go in, deep clean the floor with our deep clean solution, which is designed to actually remove oils and stuff like that. Re-oil the floor with whatever oil you last used. And now that starts over your 8 to 12 hour recoat. No, so the question, what do you have to do if you want to coat Traffic like at the 8 or 12 hour mark? Just vacuum, tack, and coat. No abrasion, nothing like that. Nope. All right, well, thank you everyone.